Across the United States, artificial intelligence infrastructure is expanding at a breakneck pace. To power the next generation of large language models, tech companies are racing to build massive data centers that require millions of square feet of rural land. For the towns hosting these facilities, the footprint is daunting. These complexes draw heavily on local power grids, and their cooling towers require millions of gallons of water, leading many residents to question the strain on their community's resources. Alongside these genuine community debates, a highly organized resistance has emerged. Groups like Code Pink have begun descending on these projects, framing data center construction as a direct extension of a military-industrial war economy. To a casual observer, these scenes appear to be classic, organic environmental activism, everyday citizens banding together to defend their hometowns from industrial overreach. But the legislative response moved with unusual speed. In December 2025, an activist coalition published a letter demanding a national halt on data center construction. Exactly 107 days later, the AI Data Center Moratorium Act was introduced in Congress by Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This rapid escalation from a coalition letter to federal legislation prompted the Bitcoin Policy Institute to investigate the mechanics behind this timeline. The institute tracked a trail of state-sponsored media and foreign-funded nonprofits, documenting a series of hidden threads that link these local protests to a coordinated influence campaign. The report maps a system designed to stall American infrastructure, identifying 3 specific vectors that allow foreign interests to influence domestic policy from the inside. This indicates that real American environmental concerns have been adopted as a geopolitical shield by foreign adversaries. Nationwide advocacy is an expensive undertaking. Organizing protests, drafting legislation, and sustaining a media presence require a massive and continuous influx of capital. Financial records point to Neville Roy Singham, an American tech tycoon currently living in Shanghai. Congressional investigations show his network has funneled $285 million into various nonprofits that mirror the propaganda of the Chinese Communist Party. Singham serves as a primary financial conduit for this activism. He is also married to Jody Hens, the co-founder of Code Pink, the group currently leading the charge against U.S. data centers. The network expands further, with over $2 billion in dark money flowing from the charitable vehicles of Swiss billionaire Hans-Jörg Wyss and British billionaire Alan Parker into these same advocacy infrastructures. This capital is routed through complex webs of 501c3 and 501c4 organizations. By the time it reaches the local level, the foreign origins are legally obscured from public view. These supposedly independent protests are meticulously bankrolled operations, supported by a combination of foreign billionaires and CCP-aligned organizations. Funding creates the machine, but digital amplification creates the illusion of mass public support. Cybersecurity experts call this a distributed denial of truth, or DDoT. It floods social media with coordinated inauthentic behavior to drown out authentic debate. A CCP-linked network, Spamiflage, hijacks trending algorithms using AI-generated personas. Masquerading as Americans, they systematically amplify anti-infrastructure narratives. By artificially inflating local anxieties through these algorithms, the network tricks lawmakers into believing a fringe movement represents the majority of their constituents. The ultimate goal of these efforts is to convert digital noise and protest theater into binding federal law. While fake American accounts post about grid failure, official Chinese state media outlets like CGTN and the Global Times mirror these same talking points, validating the activists' demands to a global audience. This synchronization reached a climax in April 2026, when the U.S. Senate convened a panel to discuss the existential threat of AI. 2 of the 4 experts invited to advise the Senate on AI policy were active Chinese government affiliates. Using a U.S. Senate platform, they promoted the exact narratives seeded by the nonprofit network, arguing that the U.S.-China AI race is a myth. By laundering their messaging through front groups, foreign operatives have successfully planted their policy goals directly inside the halls of the U.S. Capitol. The hypocrisy of this strategy becomes clear when looking at China's domestic tech policy. While Beijing-linked networks fund activists demanding a moratorium on American data centers, the Chinese government is subsidizing up to half the energy costs for its own domestic AI operators. In the zero-sum context of the AI race, stalling American computing infrastructure provides a clear path for China to achieve global technological dominance. Local environmental concerns about water and power are entirely legitimate, but municipal debates can only be resolved fairly if they are protected from foreign psychological operations. Protecting this infrastructure requires radical transparency. This includes enforcing the Foreign Agents Registration Act, tracking digital ad spending, and requiring local advocacy groups to disclose their dark money funding. Building the future of American innovation requires hardware, but it also requires defending the integrity of domestic democratic debate from covert manipulation.